Hey guys, Addict Cyclist here, just with a final update for the 2024 season here with the final build items on my 2023 Cervelo S5 Ultegra Di2 12-speed. So I did swap out the tires that came on it. It came with the Vittoria Corsa G2s that were tubeless, but I wanted to get on these pros here. Ended up going with a 30mm width because of the extreme external width of these reserve wheels. The front wheel is about 35mm wide, so the 30mm tire does a really nice job kind of pairing up with that, and it just looks really good. It's basically flush. And I did knock down 10mm of spacers on the bike here, and I could probably get away with maybe 5 more, that top 5mm piece here, only because of the upsweep here on the bars. It does sit a little bit higher. So when I did go out for my initial ride, I definitely felt that I can get a lot lower because of, again, how this is positioned. It's possible I might be able to slam it, but one day at a time here, my 4-year-old body. I ended up going with the carbon version of the stock saddle that came on the bike, which is the Cervelo Italia Novus Boost Kit Carbino, which is basically a fancy word for carbon rails, which you can see here. I did get a replacement seat post, which is a 0 offset seat post, which helped me basically get my fit almost identical as my Factor Ostro. So I wanted to make sure I was very close in terms of my reach on that. And I also got this pretty cool 3D printed neat components for my Garmin Varia on this Aero seat post here. If you didn't see my initial video, I got a pair of Dura Ace pedals on here. And I did splurge a little bit during a sale that Stages had for a factory install, which was 20% off. So it cost me like $250 to send out my crank arm to get the Stages meter installed here, and it was back in less than 2 weeks. And I did put some PPF here on the crank arms to help protect it from scuffing. Basically full kit as you see it here. We are weighing in at exactly 18.10 pounds. So not the lightest thing, but also not the heaviest, considering this is a full-on aero bike. I definitely could shed some weight if I dropped probably this cassette. My buddy Grant, GC Performance, has a 1128 through, I think it's Presta Cycles, which is about half the weight of this Ultegra 1130 12-speed cassette. But that's really only the main weight savings that would be found on this bike. There's not much more weight to shed other than maybe some more narrow tires. You know, when you're comparing Ultegra to, let's just say, Dura Ace, you're talking about a little bit less than 200 gram difference between the two group sets, and the Dura Ace is about $3,000 more. So you're really not even saving that much more weight. So basically, most of the weight is going to be found just in the frame and the wheels. There's nothing else that you can really swap out. I mean, the saddle is full carbon. There's no extra weight to be shed there, maybe a few grams. But again, I'm not a big weight weenie guy. You know, I'm a little bit heavier rider. My ideal riding weight is about 175. I'm 180 pounds as of this morning. I lost 10 pounds due to just doing some calorie counting, up my protein to about 180, 200 grams a day, and making sure that I'm in a deficit of about 500 to 800 calories a day, which would be requiring me either to eat less, be more mindful of the calories and quantity that I'm eating, or make sure that I'm in the gym rowing, weight training, or here on Zwift while the weather's still crappy here in New Jersey, to make sure I'm in that calorie deficit. So yeah, just wanted to kind of get some highlights here. What you're looking at here is the final, you know, rolling bike for the season. I may go something with a nice custom 3D printed mount there. It's kind of a little cheesy, but this came with the Cervelo. But super cool bike. Super anxious to kind of get more miles on it. I did do one ride on it, which had the other tires and some 140 gram butyl tubes, and you know, it was still a fast bike. Like you can definitely tell that when you're in a group and you're rolling, you know, 25, 26, 27 miles per hour, that this thing's going to be fast. It's going to be near effortless. But you know, like any bike, especially an aero bike, unless you're hitting those speeds, it's just like any other bike. If anything, it made me feel a little sluggish because of the weight, but I got on this and I put some power down and I just felt this bike lunging underneath me, and I definitely, you know, feel why that this bike is what it is and why it's the benchmark of aero, stiffness and use. I mean, you know, basically between the size of the bottom bracket, which is massive, right? It's a huge chunk of carbon there. You know, the huge chunky chain stays, the pretty wide seat stays, and how this front is built, right? There's no steer through here. There's these cups that sit in here. And the way that this is designed is that there's really no flex in the front end. This Y-shaped stem reduces basically all flex here in the cockpit. So, I mean, anytime that you stand up on this thing just feels like it's just a rocket underneath you. So I can kind of see why some of these pro riders use this bike even on some rolling and some, we'll say moderate climbing, because it just accelerates so well and responds to power so well. So, you know, it's not like you're going to use this, you know, maybe a day you're spending in the Alps, but, you know, for most part, there's no reason why this bike can't be used, you know, for every day. So I am anxious to see what it would be like on tubeless. My System 6 was a pretty harsh ride after I went with latex, and after I went away from latex. And I just felt like the aero bike was kind of beating me up a little bit. But I am anxious to see what this bike feels like, because it is, again, very stiff, but it's also known to be absorbent to road buzz. I wouldn't say it's so compliant, because, again, it's, you know, there's not a lot of movement here with the flex in these tube shapes and the size of these tubes. But I am very curious to see what it'll be like at a 62 to 65 psi, you know, on these cotton pro tires here. So I'm very anxious. Please stay tuned to get some initial impressions and feedback on the bikes as it's set up now. And I'm hoping to report back that I am significantly impressed considering the amount of money that I spent on it. And yeah, here we are. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comments. And I'd urge you to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps support and grow the channel. Appreciate it. Thanks. Be well.